New year, but same poverty level content. Now that we've entered 2026, I thought it'd be fun to do my own little personal wish list of things that I'd like to see happen with Space Marine 2 over the course of the next year. Before I get into my own personal list, I just want to throw out, feel free to leave down in the comments what you would like to see happen with the game over the course of the next year. Doesn't have to be realistic, it can be as wild as you would like it to be. I just want to hear what you guys would like to see. For myself, just as a quick little caveat before we get too far into it, I am going to try and keep mine a little bit more grounded in reality. I know sometimes it can be fun to ponder various different fun things that Saber could do with Space Marine 2, but a lot of the stuff that I've won, they've either outright confirmed that they won't do it, or they've hinted enough around it that I don't expect them to do it in the foreseeable future, or rather for the game's lifespan. But we're going to get right into it here. So the first one that I want to throw out is I'd like to see some improvements done with Siege mode. So like a lot of people out there, I was very hyped for whenever Siege mode was initially announced and even whenever it released. However, I think kind of like a lot of other people out there, when we did finally get it, I was a little let down. Now, I don't think Siege mode in and of itself is bad. I think the concept of it is pretty good. It just needs some, tender love and care to get it to a point where I think it can truthfully realize its full potential. Now, that being said, we do know we are going to be getting a new Siege map. I believe it's set for Q3 or Q4, so around probably spring, summer. I probably messed that up. I think Q4 would be fall. But I would say around spring or summer is when we should expect the new map to come out. And while I think that is a positive step, I do think Siege mode requires more than just a map update. Because honestly, we really haven't seen a whole lot added to Siege other than some small quality of life changes, which I'm definitely grateful for, but I still think there's a lot of room for improvement. One of the big things I'd like to see, and this is something that I had mentioned in a previous video, but I wish some of the smaller objectives that they give you the extra points to put towards supports, I wish they would affect the gameplay while you're in that particular set of rounds. So if you do something to where you repair the auto turret system for the base, I wish there would be actual auto turrets that would then become active and assist you during the rounds that you're playing. I think small little things like that, it would make not only the gameplay more enjoyable, but also would make the player feel like the choices that they're making and the actions that they're taking are actually playing a role in what's going on with the actual Siege itself. But other than that, I don't want to sound too harsh on it. Again, I think Siege mode, overall, it's a really good concept. It just needs a little bit of attention. Also, I'd love to see more support units added to it as well. It doesn't have to be anything that's game-breaking, but just different things to spend your hard-earned points on, because I know for a lot of people, including myself, there's kind of a meta of different supports that you want to buy and prioritize, and I'd just like to see some additional ones added that are maybe just more for fun, but still make the game enjoyable. Now, the next thing that I would like to see is custom matches, or at least some way for you to set up a private lobby and actually edit the different modifiers that are going on in the game. So I love operations and I love stratagems. My issue is I don't get to pick the particular modifiers that are going on for them. Sometimes I think it would just be really fun to have a lot of the different modifiers on that just make the gameplay a little bit more fun instead of challenging. Just a great way to kind of kick back with some friends and just destroy the enemies of the Imperium without having to stress out too much. But all that being said, I think it's something simple that they could do. Again, I just want to have something to where, if you're playing with some friends, you can kick back, throw on whatever multipliers it would be, and enjoy that, whether it be in operations or honestly even Siege mode. I think that would be something else cool to see as well, because there are some really fun modifiers out there. Also, if people do want to make a really challenging version of the game, I think that they should be allowed to do that and not just be left to the mercy of what's going to happen this particular week in the stratagems. And again, I would also like to see this added into Siege mode as well. But moving right along, another thing I'd like to see is more community kind of goals or activities. So typically we do get to see them here and there, specifically whenever new updates come out. There's normally like a small community goal that Saber will add. I believe the last one was simply just play a couple stratagems and you would earn some free accolade points. I know we had one before where it was defeat X amount of Vortex Beast, defeat X amount of Trigons, stuff like that. I'd love to see more of them, and I think it's something that we could do every month. On top of that, I would also like to see not just a community goal, but also like a personal goal. So I do like the idea that as long as you're playing the game, even if you add 1 kill, or maybe you don't add anything, as long as the community is sitting there putting in the work, everyone gets a nice little reward. Because most of the time they are rather small rewards, but I think that's where having a personal goal would also come in handy as well. So if you are someone who is heavily contributing towards whatever the particular community goal is, you're compensated for it. Again, I know that not everybody maybe necessarily has the time, so I think that's stuff that should remain like a permanent challenge, whereas maybe the community goal is more of a time-sensitive one, but at least something there for, you know, hey, maybe whatever challenge is going on, maybe you're only able to hop on one day at that particular time frame, but you still really want to contribute to it. You'll still get the community item, or the reward rather, but then, you know, if you want to come back and grind it out, you still have something else that you can work towards. Then, on top of that, something else that I'd like to see, kind of on the topic of rewards, would be more chapter-specific themed cosmetics that anybody can unlock just through the base game. So, I know we already get champions and chapter packs added with each update. However, now that we have the Redemption and Refinement, I think I butchered the name of that one, but anyway, since we have that, I think it's a perfect time to add in cosmetics and weapon skins that are very specifically themed to certain chapters, or maybe just different subsections of Space Marines, where kind of like the Ultramarines are known for having a strong Roman presence, maybe something, you know, that harkens a little bit more back to like Heresy pattern power armor. Just little cosmetics like that, that if you don't want to go with something that's necessarily like Roman Legion themed, or you don't want to buy the cosmetic packs, there's still a way for you to make a Space Marine that's truly your own and unique to you. Again, I think that another nice reason to do this would be players like myself who do play this game quite a bit. We have a lot of the base level currency that just kind of hangs out there. There really hasn't been too much to use it on, other than whenever a new chapter pack comes out, or on the rare case that we do get a new weapon. But other than that, I know most of the time I tend to sit, you know, with 2,000 coins for pretty much months on end. Like I said, unless we get a chapter pack, it's really the only time I have to spend them anymore. And I think just by adding them in maybe once a month, you know, maybe just a couple pieces, you know, 3 or 4 every month, that'd be a nice way to keep people engaged playing the game. And it gives players who have already accomplished a lot a continued reason to play, outside of just grinding out the stratagems for the next batch of heroic items. The other thing too, and I kind of hit on it a little bit with the weapon skins, but I'd like to see more weapons added to the game. Now, I do know that we are going to be getting a new weapon with the next update, which will also feature the Tech Marine. But my big issue is I just don't feel that we get, honestly, enough content with all these updates, especially with the amount of time that we have to wait. I do think the updates themselves are really good, and I'm really happy with the quality of them. But I do think it would be nice to, you know, in between major updates, get something small, whether that's, you know, just one little weapon. I think that would be, again, another way to keep players from coming back, preventing the game from getting stale, and just something to keep players engaged. It doesn't have to be more than one at a time. You know, you can save like the big updates for maybe when you release 2 weapons, or maybe there's one that's a really big fan favorite that everybody's excited for. Save those ones for the bigger updates, but maybe some other weapons that could be added that maybe people aren't necessarily calling for right now. I think that would be a good way to add them. Plus, again, it's extra content during the month, because as of right now, we get one big update. I'd say about every other month. And really all that we're seeing is, one new operation and some cosmetic updates as well. But that's really been it. Here and there, we have gotten some weapons, and I just think this would be a great way to add in more stuff, again, for players like myself who have maxed out a lot of their various levels of currency. It's a way to keep us engaged so we actually feel like we're still actively working towards something. And that's just something that I think it doesn't take a whole lot of time. There can still be balancing changes that occur as needed, but it's just something to where, we don't feel like, hey, we got the one big update, we grinded through the operation here really fast, and now we're stuck in limbo again, waiting for more content to come out. The final thing that I'd like to throw out, and this is one that initially I didn't really think of until I was running through some of the different stratagems with a buddy of mine last night. Now, we are definitely on 2 different skill levels, and I noticed he was really struggling with the Hellspawn in particular, which I know the Hellspawn are also an enemy type that a lot of other players tend to struggle with, but something that I'd like to see them add in the Battle Barge is a way for players to kind of spar one-on-one with some of the different enemies that are within the game, just as a way to where they can practice without having to load up into an actual operation. They still have a way to learn the attack patterns, the weaknesses, and perfect their playing skills on those particular sets of enemies. I use the Hellspawn as an example just because I know from reading a lot of different forum posts and that it does seem to be the one major enemy that a lot of players within the community are struggling with. So I think it would just be an easy way to give people that chance of where they can go in, practice. It's not in a full-on game, so people are getting frustrated if they're not performing well. But it gives players, again, that opportunity to learn how to play against these enemies, their different attack patterns, and how to counter them. But overall, that's my list. That's what I'd like to see. Again, nothing too major, just because I wanted to try and keep it a little bit more grounded in reality. But I think these are all simple enough that Saber could easily do them, and I think it's something that would just increase the quality of life for this game and also for the community as well. But as I said earlier, feel free to let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments, and you don't have to keep yours realistic. Have fun with it. I enjoy getting to hear from you guys. But as always, thank you all for watching. Happy New Year, and we will catch you next time.